Walmart rolling back. The world's largest retailer reporting second quarter earnings today that were in line with analysts' expectations, but cutting its outlook for full year profits. Let's bring in today's panel. Heritage Capital President Paul Schatz, the Wall Street Journal's Simon Constable, and New Oak President James Frischling. What did you think of what you heard out of Walmart? What does it tell you about the economy?
The Walmart thing's not new news, and the stock really didn't react too poorly. I think it's more of a small data point. I think Walmart's having some problems. I know they're blaming on healthcare. It's a convenient way. I may not be for Obamacare, but
I mean, you think it's convenient? You don't think that's realistic? They said headwinds from higher healthcare costs than what they had estimated, and people aren't out shopping. Simon, what do you think?
I think that this recovery has left a ton of people behind, and those ton of people are trading down from Walmart to places that are cheaper.
Cheaper than Walmart.
Cheaper than Walmart.
Yes, cheaper than that.
Well, there are
a dime store.
Yes, a dime store. They're going to the dime store, or whatever it is now, the 99-cent store.
That is bleak. What do you think?
You know, Walmart's been in the line of fire, being pushed to raise their wages. But here's a company that's margins are skinny. They 7 quarters in a row of losses, and their consumer, their primary consumer, though kind of the lower end of the range, is struggling. So there's this circular argument that their own customer can't afford their store.
No, you're right, and you're saying that they're having trouble making their numbers, and they're one of the ones that's getting targeted for raising their wage. How could they possibly do it based on what we've seen right here? That's a great point.
Listen, Walmart is steadily saturating the market. So let's not forget, you also have saturation in Walmart's markets already.
Yeah, that's a good point. All right, a new survey from payscale.com finds that 43% of Americans consider themselves underemployed. At the very same time, a note from Wells Fargo finds that retail sales jobs are in the decline. So almost half of America says, you know what, in order to make ends meet, I need more work. The crummy jobs at the bottom, the retail jobs, the part-time jobs, those are going away. I mean, it's like bad news on top of worse news.
It's the disruption, right? We've seen this technological disruption happening to a lot of industries. It's happened to the newspaper business when the web came in. It's happening here, too. Amazon's done it in large part, but not just Amazon, a lot of other companies, too.
So you're saying that's where the retail sales jobs are going, is that everybody's buying online, so you don't need the crummy jobs, and that's why you can't find enough work?
Yeah, I mean, I think e-commerce clearly continues to grow, and it's creating a higher paying job to focus on trends and data analysis, but it is knocking the...
Maybe, but not the same number and not with the same training.
If you're going to go to a store, retail store, you're going to want an educated specialist salesperson to convince you and help you. So I think a lot of the lower end jobs are actually being squeezed further out.
What do you make of this?
And these are the unintended consequences. Remember, the dot-com bubble was all the rage for a short period of time. These are the long-term unintended consequences of us going online, of the economy evolving, of technology becoming part of our lives 24/7. Unfortunately, for now. But long-term, there'll be new higher-paying jobs, as you mentioned. There'll be data, but fewer of them.
I guess, but there's fewer in number, and you need totally different training. And where does it leave the people who are left out of work now? Because they're not appropriate
also,
for...
you have a circular... Sorry to jump in. You have a circular thing. If you go over to the Gap over the road, there's nothing in there. I mean, there's very few things on the shelves. You can buy a lot more selection on the website, but if you don't want to buy on the website, if you want to actually feel the fabric, it's not there to buy. Yeah. So that's about, sorry.
So on the same line, this is kind of like in a shorter period of time, how manufacturing happened here. Over the long period of time, the manufacturing jobs went away and they were replaced with service jobs. So now these are kind of lower-end service jobs. They're being replaced. Something else in the economy is going to pop up after the next business cycle. But right now, if I'm one of those people, I'm not so enthusiastic.
Yeah. All right. Rockin' Robin shares of burger chain Red Robin are getting burned after reporting second quarter profit and sales that missed street expectations. Take a look at the decline. Wow. You don't want to be one of those shareholders today. James, what do you think about this one? They're talking about lower margins resulting primarily from higher food costs.
No, it is a very tough segment right now. Food costs being one thing, employment costs going up, a lot of litigation in the restaurant space. Typically, hourly workers now are actually looking for more full-time employment situations. I don't want to say it's a mess, but I will tell you that the customer expects more for less, and running specials constantly to get people in the door, you're seeing the result in the margins.
But regarding food costs, I mean, typically food costs are transitory. This is over history. This is not a long-term problem.
Yeah. Workers at Daimler getting a break from their email while on vacation. According to a report from the Financial Times, the automaker says that its employees can now choose to have all their incoming emails automatically deleted when they're on vacation. So I love this. I mean, it's taking it one step further. They say don't take your emails with you on vacation. Don't take your BlackBerry. You don't have to look at it. But then you know when you get back, you're going to get hammered, and your first day back from vacation is a nightmare. So they're blowing out your inbox while you're on vacation. You love that?
I love this. This is great. I mean, it
terrifies me. What am I missing?
For certain people, I would like them all to be deleted all the time. So that would be.
Well, that's just block sender. I can show you how to do that after the show.
Well,
I'll stop by your office.
Sure. The other thing is that this goes back to before you had these in your hand, when you'd say to the auditors, you have to take 2 weeks off back to back so that we can see if you're cooking the books or not. Right? Remember that?
I'm sorry.
No, I don't remember that. I didn't know that.
Politically incorrect comment, but I'd expect this kind of headline out of France or Italy, not out of Germany. And Germany's economy just shrank by about 0.2%. I'm not going to say.
You think there's a connection?
I'm just saying.
You're blaming Daimler?
I'm just saying if they're getting ready to give people more relaxed vacations and taking their foot off the gas, I don't think that's a good sign.
I don't know if they're going to blow them out. You can't even see them when you get back. I mean, you have no idea what you missed.
This is a total hedge. Nobody can rationalize this. This is absolutely irrational. Imagine you come back from vacation, your first day back, and people know you came back today. Now they're going to bombard you with emails then. To me, for worker productivity, it's a zero.
I guess. All right. French fried. Burger King dropping its Satisfries less than 1 year after the low-calorie treats came onto the scene. Look at that teeny little holder. There's like 5 fries in there. Their lower fat and calories seemed like a great idea. Not at all. I mean, they offered a bunch of the stores the option of franchisees of keeping them or dumping them, and the vast majority dumped them. What does this mean to you? You're a food expert, James.
I think the market has spoken, and the customer has spoken. When they go to McDonald's and when they go to Burger King, they are not looking for the healthy fry. So Burger King is clearly, it didn't sell. They're cutting it, and God bless the stores.
I tried them. They were good. I don't know, but I'm a French fry lover. So, yeah, I'm a junk food lover. What can I say?
Better than the regular fries?
No, of course not. There are less calories, but, I mean, if you're trying not to...
But who really goes to Burger King or McDonald's for healthy food?
Well, here's the thing. I have kids. They want to go to McDonald's or whatever. You're looking for anything that you could possibly get that you could have that's not as bad as all the rest of the crap that's on the menu.
Water,
right?
And they give the apple slices.
Yeah, that's true. Water and apple. I love
fries.
that. When my kids are having a quarter pounder and cheese and I'm sitting there with apples and water, it's just great. Yeah, just what we want. All right. Lands End in hot water after it mailed this GQ magazine to its customers as part of a free giveaway. That's not really the whole story. What happened here is they get the list from, we're one of the schools that was on this list, the families who have kids that are in school and buy their uniforms from Lands End. They bought that list and they sent them free copies of GQ to try and get them to subscribe to the magazine. So you walk in and you've got your first grader and your pre-K, and they open up the GQ magazine and there's this woman who's basically naked on the cover, and they got my name
so it's not all
from
the story.
Lands
It's also
End.
not all of the cover either.
Well, I don't know. I mean, what do you think about that? Anyone horrified? No one? Because half of America, I mean, moms are horrified. The moms at our school are very upset about it. The principal's upset about it. They sent a letter around. We're not the only ones. I mean, this story's everywhere. It was on HuffPost. A lot of people outraged. You don't look outraged. You look like you like the picture of that woman.
I don't.
Right? Admit it. You can't even talk now.
I do not dislike the picture of that woman, but I would say, I don't want to say it's a trend that's going on, but my parents can't watch sitcoms now because they think the humor is so raunchy. Wholesome Lands End, I'm not saying it's completely changing. It did just sell the list, but things they are changing.
I guess, but I mean, now parents are saying they want to drop Lands End as the uniform provider because this is what they're doing with their information. I mean, it was from a marketing standpoint for Lands End, this is going to cost them a lot more than whatever GQ paid them for that list of people.
They sent GQ. They didn't send Playboy or Penthouse. You could see all these magazine covers.
She's naked.
You can walk down the street in Manhattan right outside to all the magazine stands, newspaper, and see the exact same thing.
Well,
I think it's a little different with this, and it wasn't SI's swimsuit.
I think what this means is you either have to send this in a brown paper parcel, or you have to have Dad, because presumably Dad goes to the post box and gets them out, and nobody else does, and he'll be happy.
Bad marketing. I mean, it was. Why would GQ buy the list from Lands End anyway? Why do they think that's a crossover?
Maybe they want to get the customers young. I don't know.
I don't know. All right. Yeah, right. Exactly. Thanks, guys. Troublesome signs for Europe as Eurozone GDP growth comes in at 0 for the second quarter. Look at that. Big goose egg. Back here at home, U.S. markets are higher in today's session as the Dow is officially in positive territory for the year. What's the disconnect there? Let's bring in Profitable Trading's Jared Levy, and Paul and James are back with me as well. Jared, why isn't this unsettling? I mean, why is the market shrugging off the idea that the European economy is going nowhere?
Well, it should be unsettling. And if you look at yesterday's poor data here in the U.S., markets actually rallied as well. Why? Because people are viewing it good for lending, for equities. And it's strange because, you know, and this is kind of the theme, right? America is the best thing going. Europe, by the way, it's really had negative GDP over the last 2 years and only expecting 1% this year. I don't think we're going to get it. I think we go back into the negative. And again, the mindset here is that money will flow into American equities for some reason, but we're globally connected. At some point, we have to see the ramifications of the actions.
James, does that seem dicey to you?
It does, and I'll tell you the reason why I am concerned about this, the zero growth, is the Eurozone represents about 17% or accounts for 70% of global GDP. And if they're stagnant and if they don't have buying power, there are a lot of U.S. companies that are going to feel that, the autos being one of them. So I do think this is a headwind that needs to be factored in. That said, the bad news for Europe means the Fed might stand pat, and then people always say, well, that's good news for the equity markets. But I'm tired of selling that story.
Yeah, I feel like that's getting old. Paul, what do you think?
Well, regarding the European GDP, I think the market doesn't have a reaction because it's already baked in the cake, and I think the markets have lowered their expectations. Regarding the Fed, I don't agree. I think the Fed, I don't agree with the Fed, but I think they're on course to end tapering, period. I think regardless, they're going to raise rates towards the middle of next year.
Okay.
You would need some kind of
stronger dollar.
I think you still need, for the Fed not to raise rates, you really need some kind of out of the world event that really shakes the fibers. I don't think it's going to happen.
We're going to leave it there. Thanks, guys.